Biomed Nexus, daily updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TL.dr. The FDA announced a real-time clinical trial, RTCT initiative, on Tuesday, with AstraZeneca and Amgen already running proof-of-concept trials that transmit safety and efficacy signals to the agency as they occur. Commissioner Makary called it a bold new approach that could fundamentally transform this clinical trial landscape. A broader pilot program will launch this summer, with public comment open through May 29th. Novartis NVS missed Q1 estimates. Total net sales came in at $13.11 versus $13.40 expected. Entresto sales dropped 42% to $1.31 after US patent expiration and generic entry. Core operating income fell 12% to $4.09. Shares declined 3%. The company expects $4 in total sales erosion this year from generics. Eli Lilly, LLY, signed a multi-program research collaboration with AI biotech Profluent Bio worth up to $2.25 in milestone payments plus royalties. Profluent will design AI-engineered recombinases for kilo-base scale DNA editing. This is Lilly's second recombinase-focused pact this year and its sixth major deal of 2026. Lilly Q1 earnings are tomorrow, April 30th. Foundayo launch data, Achieve 4 filing timeline, and M&A integration will be the focus. Executive takeaway: the FDA's real-time clinical trial announcement is the most structurally significant regulatory initiative since the expedited IND proposal in March. For 60 years, clinical trial data has followed the same path: collected at sites, sent to sponsors, analyzed, then submitted to the FDA in batches. Under the RTCT framework, the FDA receives aggregated safety and efficacy signals in the cloud as they occur. No raw patient data, no identifying information, just rates of adverse events, tumor response percentages, and other endpoints flowing directly to regulators in real time. AstraZeneca's Phase 2 Traverse trial in mantle cell lymphoma is already transmitting data through Paradigm Health's platform. Amgen's Phase 1b Stream SCLC trial in small cell lung cancer is in final site selection. Commissioner Makary said nearly half of the 10 to 12-year development timeline passes with no trial actually running. This initiative aims to compress that dead time. Meanwhile, Novartis reported what the patent cliff actually looks like. Entresto, which was 14% of total sales last year, dropped 42% in a single quarter. The company expects $4 in sales erosion this year. And Lilly, apparently unstoppable, signed its sixth deal of 2026 at $2.25 AI gene editing collaboration with Profluent Bio that Profluent's CEO called an attempt to unlock the holy grail of genetic medicine. Read full analysis. What to watch: FDA RTCT pilot program. Public comment period runs through May 29th. A broader pilot launches this summer. Watch which companies sign on next. The implications extend beyond pharma to medtech. Real-time signal reporting could eventually apply to device trials, digital health endpoints, and surgical robotics studies. Lilly Q1 earnings, tomorrow, April 30. Foundayo, TRX trajectory through mid-April. Achieve 4 diabetes, filing status. 6-deal integration strategy. Tariff positioning. Zepbound, Mounjaro revenue. Novartis H2 recovery. Management insists growth returns in the second half, driven by Kisqali, plunging 55% ECC. Pluvicto, plunging 70% ECC. Kesimpta, plunging 26% ECC. Semblix, plunging 79% ECC. And Leqvio, plug 69% ECC. The question is whether these brands can offset the Entresto hole fast enough. ASCO preparation, May 31, Revolution. Medicine's plenary session remains the most anticipated oncology event of the year. 5 weeks out, regulatory and innovation. The FDA launches real-time clinical trial. Data monitoring. What happened? The FDA announced on April 28 two major steps toward implementing real-time clinical trials, RTCT. First, two proof-of-concept trials are already operational. Second, the agency released a request for information on a broader pilot program that will launch this summer. The pilot's AstraZeneca Traverse, Phase 2, testing acalabrutinib combination therapy in treatment-naive mantle cell lymphoma. Sites include MD Anderson Cancer Center and University of Pennsylvania. The FDA has already received and validated safety data signals through Paradigm Health's platform, establishing the technical feasibility of real-time signal sharing. Amgen Stream SCLC, Phase 1b, testing an undisclosed treatment in limited-stage small cell lung carcinoma. Final site selection is in process. How it works. FDA Chief AI Officer Jeremy Walsh said the agency is not seeking access to raw patient records. Instead, sponsors transmit only aggregated signals, adverse event rates, response percentages, endpoint data, via a cloud-based platform operated by Paradigm Health. Individual patient records remain with the trial sponsor. This avoids patient privacy concerns while giving the FDA visibility into trial progress as it happens. Executive impact. Commissioner Macquarie said, "We're announcing a bold new approach that could fundamentally transform this clinical trial landscape." He noted that the typical 10 to 12-year development timeline includes nearly half the time when no trial is actually running. By monitoring data in real time, the FDA can potentially shorten the interval between trial phases, make faster go, no-go decisions, and identify safety signals earlier. AstraZeneca Oncology SVP Amy McKee called it a step toward moving data as quickly as possible across this ecosystem. The RFI solicits public comment through May 29th on expanding RTCT to a formal pilot. For biotechs, CDMOs, and CROs, this could fundamentally change how trials are designed, monitored, and reported. Earnings. Novartis misses. Q1 as Entresto falls, 42%. NVS. What happened? Novartis reported Q1 2026 results on April 28th that missed expectations across the board. Total net sales were $13, 11B versus analyst expectations of $13, 40B, down 5% on a constant currency basis, down 1% in USD. Core operating income was $4.9B, down 12%, below expectations of $5.1B. Net income was $3.2B, down 13%. Shares fell 3% in pre-market trading. The Entresto problem, Entresto's sales, dropped 42% to $1.31B after US patents expired and generic competitors launched. Analysts had expected $1.37B. Entresto was 14% of total net sales last year. European patent expiration begins in November, creating a second wave of generic erosion. Novartis expects 4Bs in total sales decline this year from generics across Entresto and two other drugs. The growth drivers, Novartis's priority brands, delivered strong growth. Kisqali, breast cancer, plus 155% CC, Pluvicto, prostate cancer, plus 70% CC, Kesimpta, multiple sclerosis, plus 26% CC, Semblix, leukemia, plus 79% CC, and Leqvio, cholesterol, plus 69% CC. Volume contributed 13 percentage points of growth, more than offset by 14 points of generic erosion. The company reaffirmed full-year guidance, low single-digit net sales growth and low single-digit core operating income decline. Executive impact. CEO Vas Narasimhan called this the company's largest patent expiry in the last 2 decades. The priority brand growth is real, but not yet sufficient to offset Entresto's decline. Novartis is exactly where the market expected, navigating the cliff with strong pipeline assets while absorbing near-term revenue pain. The H2 recovery narrative depends on Kisqali and Pluvicto continuing to accelerate and European Entresto erosion coming in better than feared. Corporate and business developments. Lilly signs. Toulon. 25B AI gene, Editing deal with Profluent Bio LLY. What happened? Lilly announced a multi-program research collaboration with Profluent Bio on April 28th to develop AI-designed recombinases for genetic medicines. Profluent will receive an undisclosed upfront payment and committed R&D funding with eligibility for up to $2.25 in development and commercial milestone payments plus tiered royalties on net sales. Lilly gets exclusive rights to advance selected recombinases through preclinical, clinical, and commercial development. The technology, Profluent uses AI foundation models to design site-specific recombinases, enzymes that cut and rejoin DNA at precise locations. Unlike CRISPR, which typically makes small edits, recombinases can insert entire genes, kilobase-scale DNA editing. Profluent CEO Ali Madani called this a holy grail in genetic medicine and said, "Only AI can create the designer recombinases needed to precisely target any location in the genome." Profluent is backed by Jeff Bezos. This is Lilly's second recombinase-focused deal this year. Executive Impact, Stat called it a push beyond CRISPR. Biospace framed it as Lilly continuing its deal-making spree as well as its commitment to artificial intelligence. Lilly's 2026 deal total now includes 6 announcements: Orna, 2-4B, Centessa, 7-8B, Colonia, 7B, Crossbridge, 300 Nantes, Ajax, 2-3B, and now Profluent, 2-25B in milestones. The Profluent collaboration is structured differently, research collaboration with milestones versus outright acquisition, but signals the same strategic direction. Lilly is building the broadest next-generation therapeutics platform in pharma, spanning in vivo CAR-T, ADCs, targeted oncology, and now AI-designed gene editing. The week ahead, tomorrow, April 30th, Lilly Q1 earnings. This week, or next, Novo Nordisk. Q1 earnings, first oral Wegovy revenue. May 2-5, DDW annual meeting. May 6th, Royalty Pharma. Q1 earnings, May 11, Daiichi Sankyo delayed earnings, tariff impact. May 12-14, Fierce Biotech Week, Boston. May 29, FDA RTCT public comment period, closes May 29th to June. The second, ASCO annual meeting, Chicago. May 31, ASCO. Plenary, Resolute. 302 full data, RVMD, READ, full analysis, Biomed. Nexus Pro Institutional Intelligence Brief, RTCT, the structural implications. The real-time clinical trial framework has 3 levels of impact. For pharma sponsors, faster. FDA feedback loops mean shorter intervals between trial phases. If the FDA can see safety signals in real time, Phase 1 to Phase 2 transitions could be compressed from months to weeks. That directly reduces development cost and time to market. AstraZeneca and Amgen signed on first, but every major sponsor will evaluate participation once the pilot program opens this summer. For CROs and CDMOs, real-time data transmission requires new infrastructure. The Paradigm Health platform is the first to be validated by the FDA for this purpose. CROs that integrate real-time signal reporting into their offerings will have a competitive advantage. Those that do not adapt risk losing business to technology-first competitors. For medtech and digital health, the RFI does not limit RTCT to pharmaceutical trials. Device trials, digital therapeutic studies, and surgical outcomes registries could all eventually adopt real-time signal sharing. For medtech companies running large-scale trials, Medtronic, Boston Scientific, Abbott, this could accelerate 510(k) and PMA submissions. The limiting factor is standardization. Real-time signal sharing requires agreed-upon data formats, aggregation methods, and signal definitions. The RFI is the FDA's way of soliciting industry input on those standards before formalizing the program. Novartis, Anatomy of a Patent. Cliff Novartis's Q1 results are a case study in patent cliff management. Entresto fell 42% in one quarter. That is $960 in annualized revenue lost to generics. The total expected erosion this year is $4 across 3 drugs. What Novartis did right: build a portfolio of high-growth assets, Kisqali, Pluvicto, Kesimpta, Semblix, Leqvio, that collectively grew faster than any other major pharma's pipeline brands in Q1. The problem, the growth brands generated roughly $8 in combined Q1 sales, while the legacy erosion subtracted enough to push total revenue below expectations. The math is simple. Novartis needs to generate approximately $4 billion in incremental growth brand revenue to offset the patent cliff. That requires the 5 priority brands to grow at a combined 50% rate, which they approximately delivered in Q1. The question is sustainability. Can Kisqali and Pluvicto maintain 55 to 70% growth through H2 with increasing competition? Verzenio for Kisqali, PSMA4 for Pluvicto. For every pharma executive watching, Novartis is the preview. Merck, Keytruda 2028, AbbVie, Humira, ongoing, and BMS, Eliquis, Revlimid, ongoing, are all navigating their own cliffs. The playbook is the same. Build new brands fast enough to outrun the decline. Lilly earnings. Preview the 5 numbers. Foundayo. TRX. Week 1 was $13.90, 2 days of capture. Lilly will provide data through mid-April. The acceleration curve from week 1 to week 3 plus is the critical metric. 2. Zepbound, Mounjaro revenue, total GLP-1 franchise size, supply commentary, and competitive read versus Novo's Wegovy, Ozempic. 3. Achieve 4 filing timeline. Is the type 2 diabetes submission on track for end of Q2 under CNPV? 4. M&A commentary, 6 deals in 3 months. Will Lilly signal integration mode or the possibility of a 7th deal? 5. Section 232 tariff positioning, MFN deal terms, Trump RX listings, and gross margin impact. Catalyst, calendar April 2026, forward date event tickers. Tomorrow, Lilly Q1 earnings LLY this week. Next, Novo Nordisk Q1 earnings, first oral Wegovy revenue, NVO May. 25 DDW annual meeting, multiple May 6 Royalty Pharma. Q1 earnings RPRX May 11 Daiichi, Sankyo delayed earnings, tariff impact, DSNKY May 12-14 Fierce Biotech Week, Boston. Multiple May 29 FDA RTCT public comment period closes, EMA May 29 to June, 2 ASCO annual meeting, Chicago. Multiple May 31 ASCO. Plenary, Resolute 302, full data RVMD end of Q2 Lilly Foundayo. T2D filing under CNPV, expected LLY summer 2026 FDA RTCT pilot program. Launches, multiple late May 2026 commerce, Section 232 report on medical devices expected MDT, BSX, SYK, ISRG June 2026 Takeda CEO transition, Julie Kim, TAC July 1 Medicare GLP-1 bridge program. Launches LLY NVO July, 31 Section 232 pharma tariffs, effective, large companies, multiple H2 2026 Lilly Kelonia, close expected LLY-H2 2026 Ajax proof of concept, data expected LLY-H2 2026 Beeline Medicines, Afimetaran, Phase 2 SLE readout private H2 2026 Revolution Medicines, CNPV NDA filing expected RV MDH2 2026 Novo Nordisk a weekly US. Launch first weekly insulin, NVO mid 2026 Lilly, Retatrutide. Phase 3 obesity readouts, Triumph program, Acept 19 Ultragenics, UX111 PDUFA, Sanfilippo type A gene therapy, Recept 29 Section 232 pharma tariffs, effective all other companies, multiple Nov 2026 Novartis Entresto, European patent expiry begins NVS 2027, Sun Pharma Organon, close expected OGN end of 2026 PHRMA, CEO transition end A. Visit the Pro Hub read. Full article, is your company listed in the Biomed Nexus directory? 2,104 companies across 14 categories. Claim or upgrade your listing. Sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing.